Well, good morning. It's early September in Florida. I'm Russ, and this is Sailing Vessel Tautog. We're currently at anchor still in Fort Pierce, Florida, and we're just waiting for a window to head south. So let's get on with the episode. When you've been idle for a while, as I have, sometimes it's helpful to kind of shake yourself down a wee bit and make yourself remember that you're not tied to a dock and that you're not a permanent fixture and that you're meant to get underway. And this boat, I think she wants to move. She's got a clean bottom, and we're going to shake things out and make sure there's no issues that would prevent me. So today I'm going to fire up all the electronics, like here, and turn on the lights for the compass. I did that last night, and turning on the AIS and turning on the radio. But right now, we're going to hoist the head sail. That's what we're going to do. We're going to roll that out and see what happens. Maybe there's something wrong that we need to know about, right? Well, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I've heard them called Velcro mooring lines or, Velcro beach, that kind of stuff. When you pull into a port or you're at anchor and you get comfortable and you just don't want to go. So this is why I kind of prime myself loose. You can see I'm getting the sheets ready, and I'm going to be, rolling out the head sail, and now I'm going after the mainsail. And it is a very positive exercise for me, to do this and to make sure that the boat is ready to go, unless I'm hitting my head. Now, one of the repair items that I consider probably top of my list of vulnerabilities is the shivs at the top of the mast. Here I'm just exercising the shiv on the starboard side that operates the main halyard, and I'm just rolling the halyard back and forth on the pulleys to bust them loose. The very next day, Jeff was kind enough to go up the mast and lubricate the shivs that do move. The shivs on the port side still don't move, and we couldn't operate the ones on the head sail if we wanted to right now. They're rocked up in place. Do you like my new non-skid deck? I just repainted that and resanded that. Okay, this doesn't look quite right. But this is a loose fitted main. It doesn't attach to the boom except at the forward part and at the back, so it's loose footed. I don't have any cars in these tracks, and that was my specification when the thing was built. So right now I'm just looking at the topping lift and inspecting that cable. I can take a little bit up on that to make it a little more tighter, pick up the boom. But right now there's no wind. I'm not worried about anything moving. So really these look pretty good. This is the one that got broken. No, this is the one that broke. That's my new one. Yeah, Ken and I broke that on the way back, way up from the Bahamas. We accidentally jibed ourselves. I've been told since I first started sailing, when you fold down the sail, you always alternate the way the sail flops. It is folded, so it doesn't collect water and things like that. And I'm still very careful to do that, even when I'm at sea. With the camera hand, that's the half of the halyard that you pull on. The other side is the one that attaches to the sail with a shackle, with my really cool halyard knot. That's all I use, just a halyard knot. And it's very easy to get this thing tangled up. If it's strong wind conditions, now watch this. See, I'm going to do a big no-no. I'm just going to let go of it. But if it was windy, this thing will sail out there at like a 45 to 50 degree angle, or maybe 90 degree angle, and immediately become wrapped around the back stay, the topping lift, the side stays, the shrouds there, or the spreaders themselves. It just turns into a real mess, and you could be out of business just like that, because it usually happens when it's very windy, and when it's very, very windy is often when you have the highest sea state. So controlling the halyard is one thing I didn't do one time, and oh my God, what a freaking mess that was. Yeah, so I was asked just yesterday, in fact, pardon my hairdo, I was asked just yesterday why I specifically look for an older fiberglass boat, and I'm looking at the reason right now. One of the principal reasons is you can have real bilges. If you buy most modern production boats, you won't have any kind of storage under the deck plate like this. Zero. Because I'm looking at, I mean, that is the fiberglass mat. It's painted yellow, of course, but that's just to keep it bright and easy to see and easy to clean. But it just leads directly into the main bilge, which is down there. And this is one of the features that one might consider. First of all, older fiberglass boats are a lot cheaper. Okay, you can buy a boat like this, and certainly in the low $20,000 range, and it'll be a fixer-upper. But even boats that are from the 2000s are fixer-uppers. Equipment fails after just 5 years or so. So almost any boat you bought is going to involve a lot of wholesale replacement of equipment. But as I'm going through my bilge today, and what I'm really doing is making sure it's clean. That's one thing, because I'll show you that in about a minute. And secondly, just making sure the cans that are going to spoil or go old first are at the top of the pile. You don't want them getting buried by new stuff, right? So I'm kind of recycling all that stuff. And just kind of assessing in my brain what it is I have. Because basically, down below here, that's just beer and soda. And I'm going to shuffle them as well. These are oddball cans of meat type stuff. I think this is canned ham, more canned ham, canned beef, canned ground beef, and stuff like that. So I don't remember what's down below that, but you know, a lot of the Chef Boyardee type stuff, and you know, meals in a can. So this is pretty much, when you're on the way, grabbing a can like this. It may not be the world's best, but you could take a can of this beef stew, and you can take a can of this, mix together, and you can feed a couple of people. Actually, and it can taste pretty darn good, especially when you're out underway. This is my shelf milk. This is chocolate and white milk that is, you know, box milk, and that is a commonly found item outside the U.S. But in the U.S., most people just like fresh milk out of their cooler section. But the beauty of this is it doesn't require a cooler. There's a lot of canned tuna, a lot of canned chicken. Those are just Pop-Tarts. It's true. You just never know. And I don't even like eating them that much, but they do taste good sometimes when you're on a little bit of sweetness. And that's what I go for. So, buy an old boat, and this can be you. That location right there is where the air conditioner used to be, and I converted it into a toolbox, and that's where all these tools go, which I consider much more important, even though it's been bloody hot the last couple of months. We're turning the corner weather-wise, but I've got it all cleared out because today was clean the bilge day. I have already completely cleaned and restowed my supplies, but I know nobody probably had seen this yet, but under this, I decided to hinge it, since I had an old piano hinge, and I hinged it, and I had a removable floor plug so I could access the bilge should it be needed. And you can see I don't have anything stored here, although I could put something here, because it's got I made the baffle, see, to stop things from sliding, because anything stored here is just going to roll into the bilge, unless I build some kind of netting to, you know, restrain it. And I just haven't had the need to do that just yet, so a nice, clean, tidy bilge, and now it's been scrubbed, and it's been hit with insecticide. Yeah, insecticide. I gotta tell you, 3 mornings ago, I woke up subdued because Jimmy Buffett had passed. Then, yesterday morning, I woke up, and I had a dream in which I saw a cockroach on the boat. And I swear, I wasn't altogether sure it had been a dream or not, and so I went on the rampage to go kill cockroaches, because so you don't want cockroaches and you don't want ants, I assure you of that much. I'm not an expert in much, but that much I'm sure of. So, that's what got me cleaning, and I've got one more bin to go, and that's this one right here. This square plug in the countertop. It's strictly dry storage, but there is a chance that some package, you know, even though it's all wrapped in plastic, you just never know. And again, I'm telling you, I have not seen a single roach dropping of any sort, but I'm going to remove all that stuff and kind of inventory what I'm putting back in. But packages that are suspect in any way are going to be gone. But the cardboard's got to go. So that's the kind of thing I'm doing, is sorting through my lockers. And although the tea is in It's in cardboard, I'll grant you that. You know, the question is, in some cases I moved it to Ziplocs. Anyway, but I'm going to empty this cabinet right now, and then that, gentlemen and ladies, is a fucking dead cockroach. You know, I searched the boat, I cleaned all the cabinets, I cleaned all the food storage, every locker, behind the stove. Hang on a second! And could not find a roach, could not even find any droppings, and yet now I have a fucking dead one. Not good. So there's a boat near me that's not all that clean, and so it's possible the roach came over then. It's also possible the roach came during those 5 or 6 months I was in the marina, probably more likely. But the bottom line is, you got to attack these aggressively, and you got to keep your boat clean. And we're going after these guys. Okay, well, that's a look at some of the projects I've gotten going on and been doing. But now, we're actually looking to go. I want to leave Fort Pierce, and here's my weather situation. Okay, so Predict Wind is the weather forecasting tool that I use primarily. I don't yet have Iridium Go, which would allow me to receive this while I'm away from cellular coverage, but I think I'm just not ready for that yet because, frankly, I have a good cell signal every place I'm going to be in the next several months. So I think, okay, so here we are. Sunday, you can see that's Hurricane Lee passing through midnight, Monday noon, and you can see that's my location. So if I was to zoom back in, I mean, I can't do anything with this except motor. There's very little wind. There'll be a sea breeze in the afternoons on these days, which doesn't usually show. I mean, you can see it get green at the edge. That's just showing the afternoon sea breeze, but that only lasts from about noon until 6-7 p.m. and then it kind of goes flat again, so I'd be stuck out there drifting north in the Gulf Stream, so we don't want that. But as the Hurricane Lee continues to move a little bit north and west, and supposedly it's going to turn north and then kind of stall and maybe just hang here, that's going to give me an opportunity to get out of here. You see, hurricanes are low pressure systems, and a low pressure system is always going to rotate counterclockwise. Always, always, always. That's the rule. So let's see here. And so you know that if you're over here, you're going to be getting north and northeast winds, mostly northeast. So by Tuesday, I should start to expect to get some northeast winds, and they should continue through the night, through Wednesday, becoming mostly northerly, and then back to northeasterly, and on Thursday, back to northerly, almost a little north-northeast, and then Thursday night, and you can see it's going to be getting kind of robust for people further north, but by this time, if I leave on Tuesday, I should be down here at the bottom of this Florida peninsula. So, we're here at my rusty trusty chart table, and I've got my logbook, which I've had for over 10 years now, for different boats that I've had over the years, and my chart plotter, which I really don't use when I'm at sea, except to verify position, or in the case of my coming trip, it's probably going to be on the entire time, probably at the helm the whole time, because I'm going to be getting close. So the big flick is this. Here's my location in Florida, and I need to go this way. Now you see the shallows, I'll call it the blue line there. That's showing where the water is much shallower. This is where the shelf is, and the bottom drops off, and that's where the Gulf Stream's effect begins. When you go here and cross that imaginary line, like I did this one time heading north, once you get out to here, you're getting ripped north with about 2 or 3 knots extra boost, and it gets faster, of course, when you get to the middle of the Gulf Stream, which is this line. So I am trying to go south this time, and so when you're trying to go south, you don't want any part of the Gulf Stream, right? If you're going to have northeast winds, it's going to be pretty choppy already, so that's enough for me, is to have enough rough seas. But I'm trying to get from here, and you'll notice as I get to this area, where this is Lake Worth, oh my god, BCDs. Yeah, so this is the Lake Worth Inlet. That's the Lake Worth Inlet, and when you get to Lake Worth, all the way down to Fort Lauderdale, which is up right here, that's Fort Lauderdale, between here and here, I mean, that's every bit of a boot, 40, 50 miles. And the Gulf Stream is right on top of the beach. You don't want to be more than a mile offshore in order to make this run if you're trying to go south. That's the key. So for me, it's about weather. I need winds that are robust enough, and my God, it's hot. Gotta get outside to get some air. Yeah, so what I need is, I need steady winds, and I need to have steady winds that allow me to sail at a pretty good speed, because I'm going to be beating into about a 1, maybe 1.5 knot current. I mean, and I don't know exactly how fast the current's going to be. I'll be looking at the NOAA Gulf Stream maps, of course, but it's going to be an interesting sail. I don't expect violent weather. I don't expect anything horrible, but I do think that it's going to be more important to keep moving this time, because if I get becalmed while I'm sitting there in that Gulf Stream, of course I'm going to just start drifting backwards, and oh my God. So I don't know. I'm actually just working on backup plans, like what would I do if the winds just turned around and came from the southeast or the south, and I'm like, and I can't sail against that, and so I'm looking at those sorts of scenarios when I'm doing this planning. Yeah, so in terms of readiness, there's a little feeling in my head that, this is the first time I've gotten underway since I was in the Bahamas last year, right? And so I think I am out of practice. I think the boat hasn't moved for a while, and so I'm doing everything I can to kind of get my head back in the game to be ready, for other things that might happen. And I'm worried that I might be taking this trip too lightly. Like, all I'm looking at is getting northeast winds, and I can sail south pretty easily. And if I get like the 10 to 15 knot winds like I'm supposed to get, I should be able to sail at least at about, 5 to 6 knots through the water, which will give me about 4 knots over ground. And if I can do that, then I'll get around that. You can do the math. If I'm making about 4 knots over ground, then it'll take me 10 hours to get from Lake Worth down to Fort Lauderdale, and it'll take me another 5 hours to get around Miami. So there's like 15 to 20 critical hours where I really have to have steady winds. So here's my concern. When you become single-minded, or your focus is on a single aspect of the trip, such as I got to have the right wind in order to sail at good speed, otherwise I drift backwards, you can sometimes take your eyes off of other preparations that need to be done. And I think I'm okay. I've hoisted the sail. Tomorrow we're actually going to go up the mast and lubricate the shivs at the top to try to keep those babies moving. I inspected all my reefing points. I think I've done everything I need to do. But that's where we're at. So by the time this video hits, I'll probably have been underway, and I don't expect to do a whole hell of a lot otherwise. There are no more projects going to start on the boat. I'm going to go with what I've got, and I think she's in good shape. The dinghy's in good shape. So on Monday I'll be putting the dinghy up on deck, and I'll get all the fenders and the bicycle. Oh, excuse me. And I'll get the fenders and the bicycle into the dinghy, and kind of tidy up this top. So with that, I look forward to your comments, and again, by the time this video is published, I'll probably be underway, and I won't be able to see any comments until I get down to the Keys, assuming that's where I end up. That is the plan. Probably stop at Elliott Key, or maybe continue down to Key Largo, or if those winds stay good to keep me going the right direction, I might just press on to Marathon direct. That's what I might just do. But I'd have to stop and sleep somewhere. It's difficult to sleep when you're underway in Hawk Channel, because it's pretty tight. You have like about a mile plus or minus, but it's not deep water. So anyway, guys, I look forward to your comments. Wish me luck, and I'll see you on the other side. Take care. Bye.